Hi, everyone. I'm Elaine Quijano. Thanks for joining us. For the first time, presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden appeared with his pick for vice president, Senator Kamala Harris. The two spoke together in Wilmington, Delaware today, following yesterday's announcement that the California senator was chosen to be his running mate. She makes history as the first person of color to run for vice president on a major party ticket. Here's what they had to say earlier.
Kamala, as you all know, is smart, she's tough, she's experienced, she's a proven fighter for the backbone of this country, the middle class, and for all those who are struggling to get into the middle class. Kamala knows how to govern. She knows how to make the hard calls. She's ready to do this job on day one, and we're both ready to get to work rebuilding this nation and building it better.
I am incredibly honored by this responsibility, and I'm ready to get to work. I am ready to get to work. After the most competitive primary in history, the country received a resounding message that Joe was the person to lead us forward. And Joe, I'm so proud to stand with you. And I do so mindful of all the heroic and ambitious women before me, whose sacrifice, determination, and resilience makes my presence here today even possible.
For more on this, I want to bring in Caitlin Conant, our CBS News political director, and Caitlin Huey-Burns, our CBSN political reporter. Welcome to you both. I feel like it's the CNC political analysis team here on Red and Blue. So Caitlin Conant, this was a highly anticipated first public appearance from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as his running mate. Break down for us what we saw.
Well, I think one thing we know for sure is that the campaign wants to make this a referendum on President Donald Trump. We heard a lot tonight, according to both Vice President Biden and Kamala Harris, about how they plan to address issues that are facing our nation on everything from coronavirus to the economy to racial inequity and injustice, and how they want to bring us back to some sort of compassion and unifying message for the country. And they painted a deep contrast with President Trump and how they say he has failed to lead, he's failed to be a comforter in chief. And I thought that Harris was a very good defender of Biden, because she basically humanized him and said she knows from her own personal relationship with his son, Beau, that he is someone who really cares deeply about the American people and cares about making people's lives better and puts others ahead of himself. So I think we can probably expect to see more of that on the campaign trail. And another thing I was really struck by is they really hit some of these key demographics that they need to have enthusiasm and vote, not just as a vote against President Trump this fall, but in their opinion, to want to go to the polls and get their friends out to the polls and really be voting for this ticket. So they really hit on the themes of what they said. President Trump does not support strong women, and suburban women are a group that they really need to focus on here and get to the polls and vote on the Democratic ticket. They talked about seniors and said that President Trump wants to take Social Security away. And they also talked about all the young brown and Black girls who now have something to look up to and a life that can be better. And she spoke to her own personal experience on that. So kind of marrying both the referendum on Trump, but also trying to drive enthusiasm.
Yeah, it was really interesting now to hear about this question of identity and this issue in a way that, we haven't necessarily heard discussed in the past. Caitlin Huey-Burns, I'm curious about your observations as well, because, pre-pandemic, you were on the campaign trail. I remember very distinctly tossing to you a number of times in the spin room after Democratic primary debates where you were interviewing not just Senator Harris, but other candidates as well. What did you see? What are some of your takeaways from what you saw today?
That's right, and Kamala Harris in her speech today referenced the biggest, most diverse, and really extremely competitive Democratic primary that both she and Biden went through. It was really interesting to kind of see a lot of focus on that first debate when she was announced, how she had gone after Joe Biden, and that could be something that she could bring to the ticket eventually. You saw her today. Caitlin did made a great point about the affirmative case that Biden and Harris were trying to make today, because we've seen in our own Battleground Tracker poll that most of Biden's supporters are backing him because they see him as the vehicle to defeat Donald Trump. So this is certainly an attempt to make an affirmative case, especially ahead of the convention next week. But a big part of a vice presidential candidate is also to be the attack dog. And we saw her reprise some of her campaign themes about prosecuting the case against Donald Trump, reprising those themes today in this speech. She said the case against Donald Trump and Mike Pence, in her view, was an open and shut case.
All right, Caitlin Huey-Burns and Caitlin Conant, thank you both so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Elaine.